Before football was put on hold, Liverpool's last game was a crushing 3-2 defeat to Atletico Madrid, eliminating them from the Champions League, having won it the season prior. And in hindsight, it was a game that never should have happened. But anyways it did, and it didn't end well for Liverpool. But today we're going to have a look at the starting 11 from that night at Anfield and see where those players are in the year 2025 using our Football Manager 2020 simulation. Adrian into Miami. The Spaniard had a bit of a mare against Atletico Madrid, with his errors costing his new side. And on Football Manager 2020, the 1920 season was Adrian's only one there. He would join Dynamo Kiev in 2020 for £2.3 million and he had a much better time in Ukraine. He put in some wonderful performances over there, and at the end of his contract he headed to the MLS, linking up with David Beckham's Inter Miami. He's now in his third season with Golden Balls' franchise, and at the age of 38 is surely thinking about winding down his career. Hopefully by then the nightmare he had against Atletico Madrid has been suppressed deep into his memory. Trent Alexander-Arnold still there. The golden boy of Liverpool in reality, 5 years on is still the greatest academy product going, still the main man at right back donning the number 66. Trent has been wonderful during the simulation, putting in some incredible performances and continuing to get a fair few assists, even if FM has slightly underestimated his ability to create chances from right back. But valued at £76 million whilst also being the club's vice-captain, it's clear that Trent's never going anywhere. Virgil van Dijk still there. Another one of Liverpool's key defenders is still at Anfield, and nowadays Virgil van Dijk is the full-time captain. Aged 33 now in the simulation, the Dutchman is still a classy defender performing at the highest level, although for some reason he's now number 17 rather than 4, but whatever. He's got a year left to run on his contract, but he'd likely stay on considering he's still so damn impressive at the heart of defence. Joe Gomez still there. Okay, so there's a theme here with the Liverpool defence, but it's not what it seems when it comes to Joe Gomez. In 2020 he's the next big thing, being moulded by Virgil van Dijk into a world-class centre-back. On Football Manager that hasn't really happened though. He's still really good, getting more than a 7 every season, but he hasn't reached that Van Dijk level of class, and look at his numbers, he isn't even starting a lot of the time. But despite all this, Gomez is a mainstay in the England defence, so at least he's progressed in that department. Andy Robertson's still there. Okay, so Liverpool's entire back four is still there 5 years on, and while the three prior are still important players at Anfield, the same can't be said for Andy Robertson. While he still is a Liverpool player, he might not be for much longer. The Scottish defender started the simulation as a key player, but by the third season in he was no longer first choice, and that's the way it's been ever since. Robertson is now seemingly sick of not playing and requested a transfer on the 21st of May, which was accepted. He's on the transfer list at £24 million, which is a bit of a bargain even if he is 31. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Wolves. Finally we've got an outfield player who's moved on. The Ox did exactly that in 2021, calling time on his Liverpool career and getting a big money move to Wolves. The midfielder cost £43 million, meaning the Reds made a profit, and it's fair to say they probably don't regret selling him. Chamberlain has never really impressed in a Wolves shirt, in fact he's got worse and worse year after year, which isn't what you want from a £43 million signing. God, Newcastle are in for a grim time if that's what happens with Joe Linton. Jordan Henderson, Wolves. The current day Liverpool skipper is no longer a Red in 2025 and joins Oxlade-Chamberlain at Molineux. Henderson was decent during the simulation for Liverpool, but was eventually overshadowed by star signings, which led to limited minutes for the midfielder. In January 2024, Henderson ended his 12.5-year stay at Anfield, joining Wolves for a bargain £3.9 million. Despite being 35 now, he's just enjoyed a strong season in Old Gold, proving he can still do a job in the Premier League. Jorginho Wijnaldum retired. Only one player from this team has hung up his boots, with Junior Wijnaldum having called time in his career in October 2024, which is an odd time to retire considering it was in the middle of the season and he wasn't really that old. But at 34, Wijnaldum is waiting for a gig as an assistant manager, but is yet to be picked up. His time at Liverpool ended in January 2023, and no prizes for guessing where he went: Wolves. The Dutchman is the third midfielder ahead of Molineux, costing £5.25 million. But after his first full season, Wijnaldum headed home to former club PSV, where he made just 8 appearances before announcing his retirement. Mo Salah is still there. The Egyptian king is still a key player at Liverpool in 2025, with his quality on the pitch never going away despite him reaching the grand old age of 33. He hasn't been whisked away from Anfield for another big money move, and instead he scored goal after goal in red. While there's often talk of Liverpool cashing in on Salah when the time is right, he's proven on Football Manager that he can still do the business into the twilight years of his career. But then again, this is only a computer game. Sadio Mane is still there. While Mo Salah's continue to hit double figures every season, Sadio Mane hasn't been quite as impressive. His averages are still decent, but only 3 years out of the 6 has he scored more than 10 Premier League goals, and in his most recent season he only made 18 league appearances. At 33, it looks like Mane is no longer the force he once was, and Liverpool have missed their chance to get big money for the Senegalese star with his contract expiring in July 2026. Roberto Firmino is still there. Liverpool's fab front three are all still there in 2025, but it looks like Salah is the only one who's still key. Bobby Firmino still performs well in a red shirt, but a lot of his appearances in the most recent season came off the bench, with Liverpool bringing in a marquee striker to take his place. Like Mane and Salah, Firmino's contract ends in 2026, meaning the next 12 months could be a key moment of change on Merseyside. Before we end, let's have a look through some other current Liverpool players and see where they are, and find out what happened to Jurgen Klopp. Alisson is still the Liverpool number 1 in 2025, unmoved in between the sticks. Dejan Lovren's now in the MLS playing for Portland Timbers. Joel Matip is currently a free agent, having been released by Norwich City after 4 decent seasons at Carrow Road. Midfielders Fabinho and Naby Keita are still at Anfield. James Milner's retired and waiting for a job as a head of youth development. He ended his career at Ajax, spending 3.5 years in the Netherlands. As for Xherdan Shaqiri, he's in the Chinese Super League playing for Guangzhou Evergrande, and Champions League hero Divock Origi is now in Russia with Spartak Moscow, lingering in the box waiting for another quick corner by Trent Alexander-Arnold. And finally, Jurgen Klopp. No idea why, but he retired. Liverpool oddly sacked him in 2021, then he had a few months as Chelsea manager, and now he's just chilling out, drinking beer, watching reruns of Brookside and listening to the Beatles. So there we have it, that's what Liverpool's most recent starting 11 and doing in the year 2025 according to our Football Manager 2020 simulation. Let us know what you think in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and until next time, we'll see you around.